done this interview today, and I wanted to include my best friend Tobias Ralph. Tonight is our last show together. He didn't have any questions prepared for Tobias, so I'm going to wing it and ask a few questions. So Tobias, when you think of Germany, do you think of it being this hot?
No, I've only been here when it's very chilly, but this rivals New York City, for sure.
Am I wrong? You played with Nina, right? German girl.
Yes, I did. We played at some stadiums, but we were always inside for the most part. You know.
And where'd you get the Nina gig? Was that from Marco?
That was through the bass player, my friend Paul DeLeo, who plays bass with Nina. But that was how I met Marco, and Marco was the segue to meeting Adrian.
Yeah, Marco had the gig here with Adrian Ballou, and then when he couldn't do some gigs, he suggested Tobias, and off we went.
And through the power trio, I was able to meet my dear buddy, Pat, Inspiration. And we've been doing this double drum thing for about 2 years.
Yeah, we've done about 100 shows already.
Yeah.
Tonight will be the last one in Europe.
Yeah.
We have one more show together next month in America.
That's right.
Just go back a little bit. Tell me if I'm wrong about this, but you went to Berkeley, right? You got a scholarship when you were really young. Am I right? You won a contest.
Well,
tell me about it.
I was in 11th grade, and I.
When did you start to play? In 11th grade or before that?
Well, I started to play drums when I was 4 years old, and I took lessons, and that was all I knew how to do, you know, and I still don't know how to balance a checkbook or anything like that, you know. So the Buddy Rich Memorial Scholarship was an award that Kathy Rich, Buddy Rich's daughter, set up. And this contest was based on the East Coast, and she took a bunch of drummers, and you sent in videos. And the videos were actually judged by the drummers who were playing at the concert, which was, at the time, Louis Belson, Dave Weckl, Don Famularo, Vinnie Colaiuta, Steve Gadd. So these guys were the judges, you know. So that was a real heavy thing to realize that
they're going to hear you.
They're going to hear me play, you know. And so I made a videotape, and I did a free-form drum solo. And at the time, I played to a Dave Weckl tune. He had this package called the Contemporary Drummer Plus One. And then I did a duet with a bass player, and I did a sort of like a Thelonious Monk tune. And I was going to the Drummers Collective at the time, and I was studying there. And so the contest I was their submittee. And I had no idea that I had won, and I went out there, and I was all nervous. I was like, oh, well, you know. And
how long were you at Berkeley then?
I was at Berkeley for a year.
And how old were you?
I was
11?
I was in 11th grade when I got the award. So I had
about 15-ish.
I was about 15 or 16, you know. And Berkeley was a great experience for me. Not even so much from just drumming standpoint, but I got to play a lot of the music that I wanted to play, which was fusion, you know. So it was, you know, found guys who constantly wanted to play Return to Forever and Mahavishnu Orchestra, and for me that was a great experience.
About 10 years older than you?
Yes.
I was born in 55. When were you born?
71.
Oh, fuck. So 16. I could be his father.
If you started that young.
Well, what's
right?
amazing is that he is so familiar with all the music I grew up with, and then there's a point as you grow up where you just can't keep up with everything that's coming on.
True.
And Tobias is a huge knowledge base of hip-hop music, and you're from Brooklyn, right? Brooklyn or the Bronx?
Well, I was born in Manhattan. I spent most of my life in Brooklyn. And
I associate that with your knowledge of break beats and that whole genre that I really don't know that deeply.
I got into that because there was a big scene in New York. There was a big emergence of sort of drum and bass, techno and jungle and all these different styles. And then
you'd already been playing a lot of speed metal, right?
I've been playing.
His double bass chops are amazing, but he always tells me, no, I can't do what I could do 30 years ago.
I can't actually, because I was like Scott Travis, the drummer from Judas Priest, was my biggest hero, and I was able to go in there for 2 hours a day, just kind of going back and forth between 16th note triplets, 32nd notes forever, so my feet were starting to take shape, but I had to start making money. So I got very much into sort of playing the local R&B gigs. You go in there and you play R&B tunes all day, anywhere from the Stevie Wonder to the Shaka Khan, and so all the double bass drum stuff that I had shedded, like all of a sudden I wasn't using. So I just kind of came in there and started to have to really focus on pocket.
Having recorded Tobias, I know that it's not all about double bass. His one foot really blows both of my feet together, can't play. No, truly. And you've got really great power and dynamics and a control on your velocities, because I've seen it. I've worked with you on the screen, and you can da so even with one foot. It's really an amazing thing.
Takes a lot of
Tobias, who's got super mega chops. Tobias uses these sticks a lot with these weights. So I don't completely understand. Tell me what's up with the weight, the way you practice with these.
Well, I liken it to if you ever watch a baseball player, or when they're up in the batting range and they're warming up and they put a disc on the bat, and it sort of gives a little extra weight. So when I practice with these, it actually helps with focusing on certain muscles, and they're not heavy weights, they're just little weights, so it's not like I'm hurting myself, but they're just give me enough resistance to sort of work my hands a little bit harder than
So it's kind of like trying to get more bang for the buck, because you only have so much time every day to practice.
That's right.
That I know for me, a lot of times I try to get my leg up and stretch my hamstring without pulling the microphone and breaking the cable. But I try to do that, so at the same time I get a little wrist workout while I'm getting my legs and my hamstring stretched.
Yeah.
And I notice you slide this thing up and down a lot. What's that about?
The further down you slide, or more towards the tip, the further down you slide, the more heavier the stick will get. I like to use this for, I guess, sort of isolation exercises, where I'm really focusing on the fingers, or sometimes I'll focus just on the wrists, and really try and lock the wrist and just use up and down motion as they go flying off.
Show them the thing Mike Mangini showed us. We toured together with Dream Theater last summer. Show them that little thing with just a fulcrum exercise.
Okay, so he was saying that a lot of his hand speed sort of comes from the wrist and the arm, but also this fulcrum muscle here between your index finger and your thumb, and a lot of times, he would spend sort of time just trying to work on that and trying to get the stick to go up and down in a straight fashion as much as possible. And then he also showed us this other exercise where you're kind of putting your fingers on the stick this way in a very undrumistic way. It's sort of likened more to how you would play piano, and sort of manipulate the stick first by pushing the stick towards you with your index finger and then pulling back with your pinky. Sort of doing that, and then shaking the stick as you do this, and it gets the whole wrist and arm warmed up. And if you do this for about 10 minutes or so, you'll definitely start to feel a burn, especially in this muscle here.
I've definitely seen mine grow.
Yeah,
the little bump has grown.
That's sort of, for me, that's where I feel a lot of power comes from.
It's also a great exercise because it's quiet. When you're with the other guys, a lot of times it's kind of a nuisance to be always tapping and playing and stuff. So this exercise, or the one that I saw from Bozio, where he plays back onto his...
like this.
Yeah,
right?
he practices on his own arm, and it's quiet.
Yeah, don't bother people. So that's the idea, is trying to figure out how to practice but not bother people, and sometimes we have a pillow in the back of the bus and we do little drum workouts, but sometimes we've gotten a little carried away, and
the door opens and they throw a second pillow into the room, which is like trying to get us to chill down a little bit. And it's amazing to me as fast as Tobias plays, because he's got to be one of the fastest playing drummers I've ever seen. Well, just even the twitch thing with your left hand, I mean, it's unbelievable. Actually, you're quite a bit of speed there too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, impressive. But Tobias still plays with a lot of power, and I'm looking right now at his sticks. I mean, is that one show, 2 shows?
That's a couple. That's
a couple shows, but
yeah.
I guess it shows how consistent your backbeats are too. That you play them. I generally hit the stick more up here on the rim.
Yeah.
I think.
It's one of those things. A hard thing that I've been trying to work on is obviously having a consistent backbeat. But when I'm doing fast drum fills, to have the same kind of power, whatever the backbeat is, so like that my fills don't sound
like they go down.
They go down.
That's
exactly.
often an issue for me if I may be playing pretty strong backbeats. When I go to do a fill, if it's faster than an eighth note, it feels like the volume drops. Seriously. So it's a lot of the reason a lot of my fills are staggered eighth notes. But it's a way that if I ever try to do some of the things you're doing, I'm working on it. And you know, from 2 years, I'm a little more fluid than I used to be.
It's unbelievable. Well, you sound wonderful, Pat. Everything you've done is wonderful.
That's not why we did this.
Yeah, well, no, but the thing about you, Pat, is that everything you do is it feels so good, which is your time is so stable, and you sort of glide through these odd time stuff, which always amazes me. With a great feel and the chops.
I just try. Believe me. I mean, we talk about this sometimes. There's always the internal monologue as you play.
Yeah.
Every beat, you're kind of self-criticizing.
Sure.
I'm ahead, I'm behind. It's very rare that you play fluidly and just go, man, I never felt like I lost it. Yeah.
It always sounds great, though. Pat's been a continued inspiration to me, and we did this album together, which...
I can tell you briefly, I had this idea to do an EP with Eric, that was the drummer at the first Crimson Trio, or Adrian Ballou Power Trio.
Yeah.
And that never happened, just change of events. So when we started to play together and I had some gigs canceled last November, I said, man, you're home too. Let's come down to my place where we can record this. So it actually gave me a really unique insight to your playing because I saw you on the screen, because I engineer most of my records myself. And I know what I do to my own tracks when I might pull a beat to have it be better in time or change dynamic, change an individual beat's velocity. Yeah. I know other players that do the same thing. Sure. I didn't have to change much for you, dude. If anybody has the interest to check out this record that we made together, it's just now come out. We call it ToPaRaMa. For drummers, what's kind of interesting is almost everything after the first or second song is in an odd meter. Yeah. So we were thinking we might actually extract the drums and make some of the tracks available online later as a way for people to get to play along with a track that's in 11 or 13 or maybe we isolate the 2 different drum kits and you can play along as either of the 2 characters. And we didn't try to make it like a drum solo record. No. It was really trying to make musical pieces. We kind of started with some drones and some loops and other. In fact, you played piano. You played great.
I played a little Rhodes
on the record. So we started with some of those musical ideas. So we weren't just drum soloing. We were trying to build grooves, but definitely put the drums up to the front of the mix and let the drums be super active. Yeah. There's some friends of mine that played on the record: Tony Levin, Marcus, Roy Powell, Lorenzo Feliciati, different people, and they wanted to, hey, I'll put a solo here. I said, no solos. No, that's the drums are going to go nuts in there, and that's all we need. So. You make me think of something else really quick before I know he's out of time here, but something my wife has mentioned to me. She says there's great camaraderie within drummers because my wife has been around when I'm with Gavin or when I'm with Bozio, different drummers, other guys you don't know, but it's that same kinship, and she's mentioned to me, she says, when I'm around a guitar player, they're always kind of talking down about the other guy, and she says when you drummers, it's like you're just all brothers, and that's kind of, I think, what your energy in this video program you're doing is about, is trying to embrace the drumming community.
Yeah, everybody can learn from everybody, and that's the thing, and everybody's
can't all be Tobias.
Oh, shut up. Shut up.
Well, Vinny, these guys that are just like they're on a place where you can never reach it, but doesn't mean you can't enjoy playing.
That's right. You just got to keep doing what you're doing and not get discouraged and just keep working. There's room for everybody. And everybody's got their own thing to say. So, you know.
Okay. It's hot. Let's get out of here, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Ha!
Hot.